So, Robert, I have breaking news. This
Oh,
is really
God.
important.
All right.
This is
Okay.
really important for you
Sure.
specifically. Fire Festival 2 has been postponed. This has just come across the wire.
Who could have figured that would? I mean, who would have known that
Well,
could absolutely happen?
So Billy McFarland, your friend and mine,
Yeah.
he decided to redo Fire Festival as
Yes.
I think their tagline is like something like, "Yes, we are going to have a Fire Festival too," or something like that.
Right.
So Billy announced yesterday, as we record this, that there is going to be no Fire Festival 2. And my question to you is, were you able to get a refund for your ticket?
I was not able to get a refund, actually. And what I'm most bummed about is the fact that I won't get the soggy white bread sandwich. I was so looking forward to that. I really was.
I heard it's healthier. The wetness in the white bread.
Sure. It's definitely a calorie limitation. Yeah.
If you
It's
have
for
no
those that are
teeth,
trying to lose weight, it's a great meal. Yeah.
if you can just suck on it, you don't even have to eat it.
That should be their tagline. Fire Festival, suck on a sandwich.
Suck on this Fire Festival 2. Well, we should call Billy up and say we'll help him with this marketing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Because nothing says Fire Festival other than us, right?
The Fire Festival 3.
Yeah.
The shenanigans of this old marketing.
That's right.
I think we might have something there. Yeah. Anyways.
Just remember, everybody has your story to tell. Tell it well on this old marketing.
And now, for your listening pleasure, here's Pulizzi and Rose, covering the week of media, marketing, and digital content news. This old marketing. Take it away, boys.
Well, hello, friends. Welcome to This Old Marketing, proudly brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for, you got it, business professionals. And I'm Robert Rose. Welcome to episode number 476 for Friday, April 18th, 2025. And with me, as usual, my pal, my colleague, and the only guy on the planet that had no idea that Zoom was completely down yesterday, Mr. Joe Pulizzi.
You're right.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea. I was in a car for 11 hours.
Yeah.
Driving back from Santee, South Carolina.
It caused quite the controversy, yes, with people.
Was this a hack? Was this a...
No, I don't think so. I think it was just Zoom was down. I mean, it was weird. It was very weird. I had like 4 calls that had to get rescheduled because...
But you're back up to Zoom. Don't you have a Zoom
Well,
backup?
there was one of them got rescheduled for an hour later on Google Meet. Another one just called me, like literally called me on a phone, like old school.
You took wait.
I know what kind of psychotic actually uses a phone.
You took an actual phone call?
I took an actual phone call on my actual phone. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. It's so amazing how we just don't use the phone for any kind of phone activity. Now, I mean, I have a special excuse in that where I live has unusually awful cell coverage. Like I get 0 cell coverage here. So, most of my 95% of my calling is through Wi-Fi,
because you're living in a bunker now, or what?
No, I just live in the burbs, and there's, the technical term for it is shadows, hill shadows. So apparently, now I know more about cell coverage than I ever wanted to, but basically the idea is that if you live in a really hilly community or you live in a valley, basically the mountains or the hills cause what's called a radio signal shadow.
Okay.
So it's really hard to get cell coverage without lots of cell towers around you. And because our little neighborhood is kind of nestled into the hills here, and there's only 500 houses in the little community, basically neither AT&T or Verizon feel it like it's worth it to put a new cell tower in. So the nearest cell tower for us is miles away, which is, great. And then they've talked about putting in 5G, but now everybody gets freaked out because, apparently it's going to cause cancer and brain waves and electromagnetic crap and, all that stuff. So we can't get cell coverage here. So No
I
good.
gotta say, thank you for explaining that.
Yeah,
And we've lost the 3 listeners that we
Yeah,
just
that's right. Exactly.
talking about. Isn't that a
Well, I'm
song?
sure they're
Shadow.
it's
Shadow?
either that or tariffs, right? I mean, so, yeah.
No, it's
Cell coverage or
yeah. There's
tariffs.
only 2 choices to
That's
talk
it.
about your cell coverage and tariffs.
It's
There's
kind of
nothing
all there
else
is
to
in the
talk about.
news, other than us absconding with people to El Salvadorian prisons. It's like
Oh, jeez.
that or
Jesus.
tariffs.
What
Yeah.
I said we were just talked about
I
not
know.
bringing this stuff up, and here you go.
Yeah.
I didn't even prompt you. No, serious question. Isn't that a song?
What?
Shadow. Da, da, da,
Moon
da,
Shadow.
da,
Yeah.
Moon Shadow.
Yeah. Moon
Moon
Shadow.
Shadow.
Yeah.
Thank
Moon
you. Who
Shadow.
sings
That's
that?
isn't that
Moon
Jim Croce?
Shadow. Yes, I think it is. I
Jim
think it's
Croce.
something like that. No, I gotta tell you a story because this is kind of on your topic. On cell phone. So I got a financial guy that calls me every quarter.
Is that his
And he
technical name? He's a financial guy?
He's a financial guy. I
A
can't go into
financial
more
guy.
detail. If I go into
got
more
a guy.
detail, I'll give
Yeah.
away who it is, and I don't want to like be
Okay.
horrible again. So I got a financial guy.
Okay. I got it.
And I've been talking to this financial guy for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And I told him 3 years ago, I said, if you just call me out of the blue, I won't answer. Like, I never pick up
100%.
my phone. I never answer any phone calls. And so he calls me and then he leaves me a message. Joe, very important. I need to call you on the latest trades and what's going on in the market, blah, blah, blah. And then, so what I was doing is he kept calling and I said, send me an email. We'll set up a call. It's just easier to do it that way.
Yes.
Just whenever you want to talk, I'll talk to you. Send me an email. We'll set up
But
a
I
call.
need mental prep time. Yeah, that's
I can't just do this out of the blue.
And I agree with you on this.
So this is 3 years ago. And then he keeps calling. He's never emailed. He just calls every time. And so then what I do is I'm like, okay, how do I get this guy to do what I want? So he calls me, he leaves a voicemail, and then I'll send him an email and I'll say, here's when I'm open. And then we set up the call that way.
Yes.
So then I just said, I'm done. I told him on the phone the last time. I said, don't call me direct. I said, send me an email. We'll set up a call.
Yeah.
So starting the year, I said, that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So he's literally called me 15 times.
Yeah.
In the last 3 weeks.
You're not going to train him. Yeah. You're not going to train him.
I'm not doing it. And so I'm trying to, and I'm talking to my wife about this, and I'm saying, okay, if he calls me 5 more times, I'm canceling. Like, I'm out.
Oh God.
I'm to that. Yes, I'm to that point.
Yourself. Get over yourself. I mean,
No, I'm not going to get over myself. That's all I got.
He's old school. So just send him an email. When he
than
calls
I
you,
am.
send him an email back. I have plenty of those folks in my network. Clients, partners, some vendors who are old school that way. They just call you out of the blue. And I'm the same way as you. I never answer the phone, whether if you just call me out of the blue. But what I do is I go, I got your voicemail. I send them an email. I say, got your voice, or I text and I say, I got your voicemail. Let's set up a time. Let's set up a time to call because, but here's my Calendly or here's, whatever. Right. So set up. That's the way I
know I'm completely spoiled. And I'm
it's not that it's a fine,
but I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to give in to the man. I'm not doing it.
The man.
You can't force me.
You're so rebellious. You
have bad advice. You have bad advice. You should be telling me to stand my ground.
I'm not telling you to change your pattern. I'm just saying that you should be a little more understanding. You should have a little more grace is what you should have. A little more grace and a little more understanding.
There you use that word. Now you got me. I love that. That's because when we were on our golf trip, there were times when it was very slow because there are people that play slower than others. And there were some people in the group that were getting impatient. Yeah. And you have to say, hey, let's have a little grace.
Yeah.
That person
why
up there.
Why are we in a hurry?
That person up there is 85 years old. They're out golfing and you should be happy for them. Don't be rushing them.
Oh, you mean other groups,
people.
Other people, not your group. Yeah, your group was playing. I'm sure your group was playing very fast.
Yeah, our group is always perfect. We always do everything right. We're always on the cart path on par threes.
Absolutely. No divots were made at all.
No, did we fill in the divots?
Yeah.
If a hole has been made, we fill it up with sand like we're supposed to. Jesus. Anyways, it's a great trip.
That should be
Over
the title of the
150
show. A hole has been made.
over 150 holes this year in 4 days. I'm very
Wow.
proud of that.
That's amazing.
And I almost had a hole in one this time.
That sounds like a completely awful weekend to me, but yeah, I'm sure you had a great time.
I hit it was 188-yard par 3. I hit it to 1.5 inches in front of the hole. And I sent the text to my wife and I said, I almost had a hole in one. It was 1.5 inches away. And she said, is that a real 1.5 inches or a guy's 1.5 inches?
Oh,
so I said,
burn.
I said it
was
about 2.5 inches.
Yeah.
I said, okay, it wasn't 1.5 inches. It's about 2.5 inches. Anyways.
Yeah.
I missed you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good stuff.
Yeah, something like that.
That is good stuff. All right, we should talk about a show. We should talk about
whatever
a
you
show
want.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, man.
Yeah. We're going to open up with some of the big news of the week. That is not about politics at all. It's about marketing and media and all that kind of stuff. It's a little bit about politics, I suppose. The opening story that we'll talk about is that Meta is actually facing now it's actually happening, folks. Huge lawsuit for its business model. Will it be divesting itself of Instagram? Will it not? Will it pay a fine? Well, we'll talk a little bit about that. Then OpenAI has announced, or at least is rumored, to be developing its own social network. Do we need a ChatGPT social network? We will find out. Then we'll talk about the creator economy a little bit. Creator jobs are rebounding in 2025. And so we'll talk a little bit about the creator economy and where it stands. And then of all the overall generative AI use cases, some new research that came out. So everybody that's using generative AI, marketing isn't even in the top 50. And it's fascinating what's in the top 10. So we'll talk a little bit about what's going on there. Then we'll get to our winners and losers, where I'm going to pick JM Smuckers, which actually owns the Twinkies brand, and something it's doing that's very interesting to celebrate 420, as it were. Joe is going to pick the loser of databases. and I'm just fascinated with the
I've got a rant about
when he sent me his because he has to send me winners and losers every week, obviously, for putting the script together, and literally it said databases. There is no link. So, okay, I'm fascinated.
It's just my personal thoughts on databases.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we'll get to our rants and raves, and I'm going to rave about the summer of Superman because I'm such a huge Superman geek. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Superman and what's coming up. And you are going to again, the most weird faith-based billboards, no link. So it should be. I'm just as intrigued as you are, folks. So,
but I have to.
What happens?
Everyone knows this. So we recorded last week, and then I was gone. I've been gone since I got back last night at 10:30 at night. I haven't read any news piece. I don't know anything. The only thing I know what's going on is if it was talked about on the golf course. So I know less than I should about anything.
Well,
so I'm coming in.
Knowing that crowd as I do, you know a lot about what's going on in the world of bourbon and alcohol.
Yes.
You know a lot about what's going on in the world of Rush and wherever they stand in the world. You know a lot about what's going on in the world of, let's say, I think that's kind of it, really, with that crew.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about Rambo first.
Rambo. There you go. First Blood.
There was a lot of that because it always seems to be on when we're out down in Santee, South Carolina. You know what's terrible about it is we can't find good barbecue in Santee because our favorite place burned down, and there just hasn't been a replacement. I don't know.
That's sad.
It's a great golf community, but there's really not a lot of choice of a place to eat.
No, there clearly wasn't in the pictures that you posted. It was all Miller Lite all the time. So clearly not a lot of choice when it came to beer.
And my response was correct. You said, you said, so I'm holding in the group that we all have Miller Lights and we're watching the Masters. And you said, I'm going to come down there and teach you about whatever beer we need to be drinking. And I said,
you're hydrating.
We were hydrating.
Yeah.
Which we were. Sometimes if you're going to have beer, sometimes you need to throw
sometimes
in
you need to
a Coors Light, a Miller Light, and then you can go back to the regular beer.
I get it.
It's responsible drinking, Robert.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. All right.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's get to our first story. Let's
Okay,
get to
let's
our
do it.
first story here, which is coming to us courtesy of Axios. It's about Meta, and so there's a lot of course, mainstream media covering the Meta lawsuit with the FTC. This one, the headline is a little better and certainly more sort of covering some of the background, of course, of this a bit better. Basically, the headline is one big thing: Meta's buy or bury fate. It starts with basically a sort of a couple of graphs here that go through all of the different things that it's doing here in terms of what Meta has been looking and launching and all those kinds of things. And it opens up by saying Meta has a long history of acquiring or building copycat apps and features that have ultimately failed and shuttered in less than a few years. But the unprecedented success of two of its biggest bets has regulators concerned why its tactics are anti-competitive. Faced with a historic antitrust lawsuit, Meta argues its acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp weren't meant to stifle smaller competitors. They actually say that with a straight face, but to help it remain relevant to users as the social media landscape has evolved. The FTC disagrees, of course, and faces an uphill battle in trying to convince a federal judge that Meta should be broken up. In a landmark antitrust trial that began this week, Monday, in Washington, D.C., the Federal Trade Commission called for the unwinding of Meta's 2012 acquisition of Instagram for $1 billion and its 2014 acquisition of WhatsApp for $19 billion. It's amazing. If you think about it for a second, WhatsApp for $19 billion and
They got a deal, right?
Oh, they got such a deal for Instagram.
The greatest, and we talked about this before, the greatest acquisition in the history of anything. Yes.
I mean, in terms of getting a deal, a steal on this kind of stuff.
God.
In any event, it goes on to talk about, and very, very clearly, Axios is so good at this stuff, sort of outlining the U.S. ad revenue against different companies of YouTube, of LinkedIn, of TikTok, of Instagram, of Facebook, and it just in a very, very clear way illustrates what dominance Meta has over the sort of social media landscape from an ad revenue perspective. And anyway, the article sort of goes on to speak about this stuff and then says basically recent efforts by Meta to curry favor with the Trump administration haven't swayed the FTC officials, sources told Axios, but that hasn't stopped the company from trying. There is actually other reporting that says that one of the reasons that Zuckerberg came to the inauguration and that is talking to Trump is to try and reduce his fine down from some billions of dollars to maybe 400 or 500 million dollars ultimately. So he's sort of negotiating as he goes here, sort of running around the FTC to sort of go to the source, as it were. Anyway, any thoughts on the on this lawsuit and whether it will? Do you think it's going to come to pass of divesting, or what do you think?
So I have a couple thoughts.
Yeah.
One, the government, I think, is wrong in saying that Instagram is not a broadcast platform, but it is a person-to-person platform. They're differentiating it between things like YouTube, which I think is total BS. It is Instagram is a broadcast platform.
Yeah, it's YouTube.
WhatsApp,
it's YouTube for pictures.
Yeah. So is there a people-to-people conversation going on? Maybe in your DMs, but it's very similar to YouTube. It's just a little bit different. So I think they're completely wrong with that one. That's a problem that the government has.
Yeah.
The second thing is, here's what I thought of. Do you know the Donald Trump movie that came out with Roy Cohn?
Yeah.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, so I apologize, but I've seen some of the quotes that went on. And Roy Cohn in the movie says to Donald Trump, play the man, not the ball. So in sports, we're supposed to play the ball and not the man. So that's wrong. You gotta play the man and not the ball. That's what Zuckerberg has done. He says, who's in office? Donald Trump. What do I got to do? I got to go to the inauguration. I got to play nice. I got all this FTC stuff coming up. What am I going to do? So here's what I think is going to happen. I think this lawsuit will go away. I don't even think it's going to be a fine. I think he's going to announce some kind of investment in the U.S., something Meta and Facebook's going to do in the contiguous United States. And then Donald Trump can go up and say, see what's going on, all this. And you can almost see it happening in front of you. I'm actually surprised it got this far. So I would say probably in the next 3 weeks, you're going to see an announcement if they can move that fast. 3 weeks, and it's going to be done. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. And of course he bought Instagram to get it off the competitive landscape.
Of course he did. Right. I mean, that's thinking anything otherwise is silly, right? He bought it so that he could corner the market on this stuff. He recognized very quickly, and to his credit, by the way, recognized very quickly that Instagram was going to become a thing and a major competitor. And so he said, let's get it out, let's get it under our wing. And we were just talking about this, right? He got an amazing deal for it. It's to their credit, it's the best acquisition maybe in all of tech, but certainly their best acquisition ever.
Oh yeah.
WhatsApp is a little different. WhatsApp is so not a US thing really. It's much more global than it is really popular here in terms of how people use it and direct message and sort of message with each other. And so, certainly getting a little more sort of, I guess, coverage now that you start to hear things like Signal and other DM types of apps that sort of, for group messaging and sort of stuff. But I
don't get, but I don't, here's what explain this to me. This is what I don't get. Take WhatsApp and you just say, they're saying, oh my God, this is unfair. You just have to point to, well, then what about Apple and messages? What about Google and their messages?
Yeah.
That's a messaging platform.
Yeah.
And you have two of the most valuable companies in the world in that business.
Yes.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. It's to your point, this is a day late and many dollars short.
Yeah.
Right. If this inquiry and this sort of FTC sort of oversight for the acquisition should have happened, it should have happened 10 years ago. And so that's the real challenge with this. It's like, what are you even arguing now? Right. It's been around, it's been around for, almost 20 years now. I mean, it's crazy in terms of the time level here. So I 100% agree with you. It's getting settled. It'll get settled quickly. Yeah. This is a lot of noise that will not relate to much. I think one of the interesting wrinkles here is that there is some TikTok sort of implications here. And it'll be interesting to see that, you're not going to, you won't see any noise by any of the big companies, I think, because of this. I think that it puts a damper on any of the larger companies sort of acquiring a TikTok, right? If that was ever even going to happen.
Who's over there? Who's left?
Right.
Seriously, what is this? Is this like an AI version of the FTC?
Yeah, right.
What?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you and I both have some friends over on the government side, and they're like, there's not much going on with anything. Like, if you're going to cheat on your taxes, now is the perfect time to do it. Anybody.
This is financial advice, folks. We're not.
I'm gonna absolutely. Digital marketing does not condone financial schemes of any kind. But if you were thinking about doing it, now's a pretty good time.
Yeah. From just a timing perspective, yes.
Just saying. There's nobody watching.
That's right.
Nobody watching.
There's nobody watching. All right, let's get to our next big story that's coming out this week that actually broke yesterday or day before yesterday, maybe, depending on when you listen to this. And that is that OpenAI is actually developing its own social network. So says Reuters, which is reporting on this, although there's a couple of others that have reported on it as well. The headline is OpenAI is working on an X-like social media network, says The Verge. And this basically opens up by saying OpenAI is working on its own X-like social media network. The Verge reported on Tuesday, citing multiple sources familiar with the matter. It's an internal prototype focused on ChatGPT's image creation that has a social feed, the report said. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has been privately asking outsiders for feedback about the project, which is still in the early stages, according to The Verge, and it's unclear whether the company plans to release the social network as a separate application or integrate it right into ChatGPT. It's fascinating if true. A, do you think it's true? B, do you think I have a definite take on this, but what do you think? Are we going to see a competitor to an Instagram or a competitor to X come from Sam Altman and company?
So First of all, I'm not a big Sam Altman fan.
No,
But I love this move
Oh yeah,
because
it's a chess move for sure.
you know what this is?
Yeah,
This is a billionaire pillow fight.
yes,
This is
indeed.
exactly what's happening. Sam Altman and Elon Musk hate each other. Now, I just want you, if you just look at the numbers, you're talking about ChatGPT is worth 100 billion. OpenAI is worth 100 billion or more. Very, very valuable company. They're talking about a competitor to Twitter X,
Right.
which does a couple $100 million a year in revenue. It's nothing compared to what's going on over at ChatGPT. So why would they want to get into this business? Because Sam Altman wants to do anything and everything to make Elon Musk look bad. And this is what is it. So he's going to his investors saying, hey, is this okay if I do this? Because I really want to poke the bear.
Yeah.
So that's all this is. And will they integrate it into ChatGPT? Who cares?
Right.
Nobody cares. That's why I just thought of the billion, two billionaires, Elon and Sam, just hitting each other with pillows. That's kind of what's going on right now.
There's your cover image. There's your cover image for the show.
It's gonna be a good one too.
Yeah, it's
gonna have
be
ChatGPT help with that one too.
I'm sure
you
can.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think you're right. I think this is an episode of Billions, where you've got the two billionaires sort of, and really the one more than any other. I don't think Elon is terribly focused on Sam Altman right now, other than sort of the way he was, a few months ago, sort of poking that bear. And I think Sam is just sort of now. That tells me that this story was purposely leaked to The Verge.
You think?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And
yes,
so
it was.
Here's the thing. But having said that, it's very easy for them to do this, right? Because if you think about the sort of, when you do a custom GPT on OpenAI, you can make that available in a public marketplace, right?
Yeah.
And you can create images in line with ChatGPT right now. So it would be child's play, really, for them to merge those two ideas and make a public network available, very much like what you had with what's the other image generator that you used to do through Slack or Discord. It was through Discord. Remember Midjourney? You had to do Midjourney.
Yeah, that was
so. It was Midjourney. Basically, the way you would do Midjourney is you would go into that Discord and you would do it in the Discord, right?
Yeah.
And then so everybody could see what everybody else was doing, and you sort of saw it in a feed. It would be a very similar kind of thing to that, where you would see images and posts and stuff like that, as sort of an X plus, sort of a quasi X plus, and it would basically just show off the technology. It would show off the technology of which, there's so much arguments about, AI slop and how much imagery, if you do a Google search now, just try doing a Google search on any images and see what you click on images, and 9 out of 10 of them are now AI generated. It's crazy how much AI imagery is taking over general images.
We talked about when's the day when our feeds would get overtaken by AI stuff, and I think we talked about a year ago. It said, it's going to be a while, and we're like, oh no, it's tomorrow, or it's yesterday. It's a lot. Kind of ridiculous. Yeah,
it's a lot.
People don't care, by the way. They don't need their content from human
beings.
No,
what's been interesting to me is that your Facebook feed, your LinkedIn feed, especially Facebook, I find these days, where people used to post up sort of memes around politics or memes around, and they would use sort of the photographic memes from old movies and from, the social, sort of social photographs with that have become memes, and sort of put little cartoon things or headlines to them that sort of became the way to make a joke about politics or culture or something like that. But now it's basically generate a little video or generate a little, AI thing. And so you see all these quote unquote sort of deep fakes of, there's one that's going around now, which is, JD Vance and Trump sort of sitting in the Oval Office eating Cheetos, right? It's so gross, but it's amazing. And you see that a lot now. But what I find fascinating is that on the image and video side, What we haven't seen a lot of is sort of the thing that we feared the most in the early days, which was sort of the deep fake that looked so real that we couldn't tell, that was putting words and, stuff into the politician's mouth and all that kind of stuff. You can definitely tell that it's AI generated right now. You can sort of, in fact, there's some memes going around where there's real people sort of imitating the sort of look of AI video, that sort of slow motion, smooth graphic sort of thing, which is really kind of funny. But it's just amazing to me how where we're going with that versus where we thought we were going with that. And I think this plays a lot into that. I can't see them actually launching something here with a social network. There's just no need for them to. So anyway, I come back to your point that this is all a pillow fight with.
If they launch any type of tool within ChatGPT, then whatever, it's just a feature.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is fine. That's right. I could do that. But the whole like leaking of the news and the whole thing, that Elon's like, because he was in the process.
I doubt he even paid attention to this. Yeah,
Elon was DMing some woman to have another baby. I mean, do you see that Wall Street Journal thing?
No,
I didn't know that was true, but I guess it's been corroborated by.
I did not see that.
Apocalypse. Apparently, the apocalypse is coming, and Elon's trying to create more babies. I thought it was a joke at first. I thought it was The Onion, and I go to it. It's the Wall Street Journal. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
And this is basically from some author or something like that is writing a book or
no. Elon is approaching people on his platform so he can have more babies.
Oh my.
I'll check the source. We'll do the ads. We'll do the ads, and then I'll check the source.
Yeah. Go pay a couple.
We don't want to spread lies on this. We're all about truth.
There's your tease, folks. Stick through the ads because on the other side, we'll talk about Elon and babies.
You don't become the world's most valuable women's sports franchise by accident. Angel City Football Club did it with a little help from HubSpot. When they started, data was housed across multiple systems. HubSpot unified their website, their email marketing, and fan experience into one platform. This allowed their small team of 3 to build an entire website in just 3 days. The results? Nearly 350 new signups a week and 300% database growth in just 2 years. You want to kick off some great marketing? Visit HubSpot.com to hear how HubSpot can help you grow better. Are you ready for the next wave of AI? Let me introduce you to a podcast, The Next Wave, your Chief AI Officer, hosted by Matt Wolf and Nathan Lands, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. You can catch The Next Wave with Matt and Nathan. They are leading AI creators who are your guiding light in the AI and technology frontier. AI technology is transforming the way we do business, and The Next Wave, well, it strives to be a leading podcast on AI technology and how you can apply it to your growing business. Listen to The Next Wave wherever you follow your favorite podcasts.
All right, so I love that. I was digging it. I can't multitask. I literally can't look for an article on the Wall Street Journal and do ads at the same time. I can't.
There's nothing for you to do with the ads. You just hit the button and it plays.
I can't even do nothing. I make nothing a lot of work.
It's not that you can't multitask. You can't task.
Well, thank you. That hits too close to home, actually. All right, we're not going to stay on that. But basically, there's I'll put it in the show notes so people can see it. There's a Wall Street Journal article that came out on April 15th that talks about the tactics that Elon. This is the title: the tactics Elon Musk uses to manage his legion of babies and their mothers.
Legion of babies. That's such a great name. The Legion of Babies.
I know, right? The world's richest man juggles more than a dozen children and harem drama, along with running his companies and advising Trump. He recently took a paternity test in a battle and blah, 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 and goes on. And in this article that I skimmed, that I got to read the whole thing yet, but I don't know if I want to.
Yeah.
He talks about how he it's like a little hush money thing here and there. And then the other thing is that he believes that before the apocalypse, he wants more Elon babies out there. Like he's
Why?
trying to
If
spread
you
his
believe there's
seed
an apocalypse
before the
coming,
apocalypse.
why would you want more babies?
I don't have all the answers. This is all, I mean, I'm going to let Wall Street Journal do what they do and find out more about the Elon harem,
The Legion of Babies.
the Legion of Boom, or whatever, the Legion of Doom. What is it? What would it be?
Legion
the
of Doom.
Legion of
Yeah.
Legion of.
Are you thinking about the Seattle Seahawks, or are you thinking about the comics?
I swear to God,
Yeah.
yes, I don't. That's Sean Kemp. That's what we go back and talk about Sean Kemp and all Sean Kemp's babies. Who has more babies, Sean Kemp or Elon Musk?
Great trivia question.
Does anybody know?
I'm
First
gonna
one,
guess.
first one to go to thisoldmarketing.com and tell us the correct answer, and we'll feature you on the show next week.
There you go.
With your name. We'll feature your name on
Great
the show.
trivia question. We're asking the hard-hitting questions here at This Old Marketing.
This is the most important. Okay. Okay. Last one. I'm sorry. This is terrible.
I know it's good.
It's nothing to do. Who has more babies? Sean Kemp, Elon Musk, or the host of
You're
The Masked Singer?
That's what I asked. I asked that the Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon. Thank you.
Who has more babies between
Nick
those
Cannon,
two?
Sean Kemp, I know who my money is on. I knew who. Now I'm not Googling. I'm not Googling right now. But my money.
Don't say We're going to bring it back next week. So come back if you're listening to this now, and if you are, God help you. You come back. You come back next week, and we will have the answer and a winner.
Yeah,
and a winner.
And I dare people to ask ChatGPT that question.
I really want to do it right now, but I can't because we don't want to give it away.
Yeah. Don't
do it.
No,
I want people like realists. I did not.
Yeah, go do it.
Yeah, I want to know. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get to our next story here.
Sure, why not?
This is we're going to talk about the creator jobs and how they are rebounding in 2025. So says Project Casting, a website that I was heretofore unfamiliar with.
I'm not familiar. Yeah.
I'm not either. But they posted a post that said the jobs rebound in the creator economy in the Q1 2025. Very well structured, very SEO optimized article that basically says jobs are coming back fast. In the first quarter of 2025, creator economy jobs saw a big jump. Open roles went up by 11.9% compared with the last quarter of 2024 and grew 36% compared to the same time last year. This is great news after a rough Q4 when job listings dropped by 34%. Why the comeback? Well, the article says it's partly because of something called hiring seasonality. Ooh, this new concept, hiring season. Anyway, and at the end of the year, companies slow down hiring during the holidays, says James Creech, CEO of Creator Economy Jobs. But in Q1, things pick back up as new budgets kick in. This recovery follows two strong quarters in 2024. In Q2, jobs grew by 66%, and in Q3, they went up by 11.5%. Even though Q4 was slow, the market is clearly bouncing back. And the more interesting one to me is the year-over-year change, I think. New York takes the lead, it says. North America is still the biggest region. Who's getting hired, says the article? Well, they're looking for experienced sort of content creators. Most jobs are for mid-level talent, 44.9%, followed by management roles, 25.8%, and experienced positions. Entry-level jobs make up just 3.5%. So people are, they're looking for people who know what they're doing here. So the article goes on to talk about the top companies, the more flexibility in work, and why people are doing this. Any big insights here from what you see in the world from the creator?
Yeah, I have to find out how this study was done. I'm a little bit.
You're a little,
as the kids would say, this is a little sus.
A little sus. Okay.
A little sus. Right. I don't really know. Basically, in a nutshell. I'm in a nutshell. In a nutshell.
This is me in a nutshell.
I swear, I'm totally out of it today. Yeah. I don't know where they're getting this data and what makes sense or whatever. But my first question was, what's a creator economy job?
Yeah, right.
To me, when somebody says creator economy, I think about the entrepreneur who is trying to launch their own business by using the tools that are out there in the larger creator economy. But a creator economy business itself, like the person doing it, is an entrepreneur that's trying to build an audience and drive multiple streams of revenue through that audience. So when this is like creator economy jobs at Facebook and this company and in this, it almost seems like content marketing jobs, right?
Well, that's how I took it.
Are we mixing
to be
these
honest
things
with you, that's how I took it. Was
That's
more content marketing types of jobs that they are calling content creator jobs. There seems to be a real. I have noticed. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've noticed that over the last couple of years, especially in younger crowds, there seems to be a pushback on the term content marketing a little bit. They call it, well, I'm not a content marketer. I'm a content creator. Right. And so it's almost like the same pushback that we saw with journalists back in the day, when journalists would really push back on the term brand journalism or content marketing, because no, they didn't want to sully themselves with the idea of marketing. So this content creator idea seems to have a similar type of pushback going on in businesses right now. And so you start to see more and more companies, to your point, like Facebook and big companies, B2B, B2C, that are hiring people who specialize in being content creators especially in social media. But sort of that more, they're either hiring people that have some audience, or they're hiring people who know how to do this, and are letting them sort of have a bit of a field day is not the right word, but a little more flexibility in the way that they do things to sort of, it's that surfacing of the content creator mentality within the overall marketing effort. I think a great example of this is what, for example, if you know Heike, don't you, Heike Young?
Yeah, sure.
So Heike is a
really
great
good on
example of
LinkedIn.
this.
Yeah.
She's got an amazing TikTok channel and an amazing LinkedIn presence, and it's mostly her stuff, right? It's about her, but she works for Microsoft, right? And so she does content marketing stuff for Microsoft, but it's her content creator side of things that also gives that a little bit of visibility, and it's a really nice match win-win sort of for the brand. And I think that's the kind of job they're talking about.
Well, if that's the case, I just think that we've got, who am I to talk about terms? I like my own terms, but I think that's where I would call this, I would rename this whole thing as content marketer positions, content marketing positions.
I think that's right. I think that in many respects, that's right. I think the nuance that they would add is, and this is especially true for someone like Heike, is she's got both things going on at the same time, right? So the stuff she's doing for Microsoft, you may not even see her. You might not even know that it's her. She might be ghostwriting. She might be doing, she's doing things on behalf of the brand. She's going to events and she's live tweeting the event, and she's doing, she's doing all these things that a content marketer would typically do in a brand. And then separately, she's got, and permission, by the way, to do this, separately create content, right? So as a content creator, as an entrepreneurial type of situation, right? Where she's, creating, mom stuff on TikTok and, other types of things. And so there's a Venn diagram of overlap there. I would just call it content marketer as well, but I'm good with them, whatever they want to call it.
That's the most valuable person in marketing right now. My
100%
people that are creating their own
value
audience, their own personal brand around content creation, whatever you want to call it. And then if they want to start their own business or they want to monetize that directly, they can do that, or they have the option where some larger brand wants to pick that up and say, hey, be you for us.
Right. That's right.
And so it's really easy. You just keep doing the same thing, and your revenue stream, you're not doing it directly. You're getting paid by somebody to be their influencer.
That's right. And and just as a side note, I have seen more of that come into my inbound as well, right? Just as a side note, not that it needs to be about me or anything, but I have seen an increase in inquiries from brands that, want to have me do a webinar or have me do some content or do that sort of thing for them too. So
the show should not be about you.
It shouldn't
anyway.
Really.
Let's put that out there.
Definitely should not.
And
be
thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. To make you happy that we're not talking about me.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
All right. Let's get to our last story before we get to the winners and losers. And our last story, fascinating one, and I definitely have a take on this and would love to get yours. This is coming courtesy of Search Engine Journal. The headline here is Top Gen AI use cases revealed marketing tasks rank really low. And if I can get rid of the million pop-ups on this stupid site. But anyway, sorry.
I hate you, pop-up.
Pop-ups, just bane of my existence. Anyway, the article opens up by saying new research shows marketers aren't using generative AI nearly as much as they could be. Marketing applications rank surprisingly low. This is not surprising to me, by the way. Surprisingly low on the list of popular AI uses. The top 100 Gen AI use cases report by Mark Zhao Sanders reveals that while people increasingly use AI for personal support, marketing tasks like creating ads and social media content fall near the bottom of the list. The number three, the top three. So the top three use cases. I was going to have you guess, but you're looking at it, so you sort of. But basically, top three use cases are: one, therapy and companionship, and I 100% believe that because I know many people who are doing exactly that. Therapy and companionship. Number two, life organization. I know lots of people doing that, including myself, by the way. Finding purpose. That's another fascinating one to me. And then they show sort of a graphic of 2024 and 2025, how things have sort of shifted. And then basically, if you look at marketing, where they did, which is ad marketing ranks 64, writing blog posts is 97, social media copy is 98, and social media systems is 99 out of a top 100. Fascinating to me. And then they sort of hypothesize about why the adoption gap exists for marketers. Basically, most experts connected to expected AI would prove itself first in technical areas. The research basically is that it's gotten better at writing prompts. They also better understand AI's limits. I think, honestly, it's a pushback from creative. I think what I see a lot of is like, there's sort of those that are eager to use it for creative who are typically not exercising their writing muscle or their creative muscle very hard, but those that typically do are sort of saying, I don't need it to replace my creative muscle. I don't need AI to replace my creative muscle. All I'm trying to make it do is make me go faster for my job because I'm getting pressure to do more, right? So that's my take. I don't know what you. I find this whole study quite fascinating, actually. That they found this. What about you?
Well, I mean, just to go back to the number one about companionship and therapy, we've talked about it on the show. This is not a marketing issue, but one of the biggest issues we have right now is loneliness.
Yeah, 100%. Yes,
we have loneliness. We have people that in the younger Gen Z, millennials, whatever millennials. I guess they're not young anymore. Sorry, millennials.
Yeah,
Gen Z, Alpha.
Yeah.
They're not getting together with people in person.
Yeah.
We have our. If you just look at the United States, we're having significantly less children.
Yeah.
As we're going to go into a population.
We're dating less. Young people are dating less. Yeah.
We're going to decline in population with the issues that's going on in this country with new people coming in, as in immigrants. That's not happening as much, and you got people that are not having babies. We're going to have a problem here pretty quickly. And if you want to see what happens, look at Japan.
Yeah.
They went through decades and are still figuring this thing out when they didn't get their population to increase. So that doesn't, I mean, when I saw this, the first thing was the image I got was Joaquin Phoenix and her.
Yeah.
That image of that OS, and we're going that direction. And I'm seeing people, to your point, seeing people use that. There's more money and there's more new AI apps around companionship than I ever thought possible.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, beyond that, from the marketing, so your take is we don't want a replacement to creativity.
I think, I mean, it's been said before, as you know, and I've talked about it before with how I think the many of the stack oriented solutions, and that would include AI and Microsoft and Amazon and Google, are mismarketing the communications part of what they're doing with AI as it pertains to the creative side of business, right? Which is they're looking at creativity as a problem to be solved, right? And it was really ham-fisted in the early days, really ham-fisted, right? You had the CTO of OpenAI talking about, well, you just don't need as many creative people anymore because AI can take care of that for you. It's like, that's not a problem to be solved, right? It's not, having many creative people in a business is not a problem that needs to be solved. And that ranges from that all the way down to you see the memes going around these days with people saying, well, AI keeps promising me that I'll have more time in my life to do laundry and to do cooking, and it'll take care of the creative and writing aspects for me. But what if I want it the other way around? What if I want AI to do my laundry and do my cooking, and I want more time to be creative, right? And so the interesting thing is the way that this technology is being positioned as a replacement for the creative process, and it feeds into, this is a bigger topic that would merit its own show, and it's something that I've been doing a lot of thinking about, which is this: we as a culture, as a business culture, have gotten wrapped around the axle of speed as the operating model of business. And so from literally the world at 2000 through 2025, the focus on every business has been how to get faster at product development, how to get faster at manufacturing, how to get faster at marketing, how to get faster at finance, how to get faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And that move fast and break things with fast and speed being the operating model has resulted in where we are right now, with looking at an innovative new technology, such as basically saying, how do we use this technology to get even faster? And without ever stopping to think for a minute, why are we going so fast? Like, why is it more valuable to go? Have we reached peak speed yet, where going slower might actually be a better strategy? And so there's a lot to unpack there, but basically my point is that in so many ways, I see the rejection of AI from that foundation, which is a sort of rejection of the pressure of moving to get more mediocre stuff out faster, and instead take the human friction, team orientation of saying, let's just slow down a little bit and think about what it is we want to do, instead of letting AI think for us. And so that's why I think you see a little bit of the rejection complex right now.
I love what you're saying specifically for, I mean, not even just for marketing, but to ask yourself in all this, is this a problem we need to solve?
Right.
I mean, not going too far, but I had a conversation very recently with a friend that they were talking about the issue that's going on with the trans athlete case in Maine, and they were talking about the SAVE Act that's going on. Yeah. I'm not going to take a position on, probably everybody knows where I stand on both of these issues. But the question that my friend asked is, are these the issues? Are these the issues that the United States needs to solve right now?
Yeah, that's right.
Of everything going on, this is the most important thing that we have to focus on.
Exactly.
And I would take that same outlook with exactly what you're saying. And if you're dealing within your company and anything to do with AI, and somebody's saying, we need to do this, this, and this, you, the listener, needs to ask that question. Is this the most important problem we need to solve right now?
Right. Is going faster, going faster the most important thing we need to solve right now?
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Thank you
Thank
you for saying that.
There you go. There you go.
About that now.
Yeah.
That's like a good, that's like a good get on your soapbox for you.
Oh, I got a whole.
You got a speech on that? Like,
I do actually. Yeah, I have a whole thing about it, but it's and it seems to be resonating a little bit. Like when I put out my posts now about this stuff, about, the value of friction, the value of slower, the value of thinking like that. I just wrote that whole post about the vibe marketing and moving. It's like, I'm getting notes back from people saying, thank you for talking about this, because it's an important topic, and one that I think is getting lost a little bit in sort of the need for speed.
It's interesting. I saw a interview with Mark Cuban recently, and he's been saying this a lot, and the question was, you're a teenager, you're just getting out of school, what do I do to advance my career? And Cuban's like, eat, sleep all day long, AI, like everything. Like everything you should be doing is AI. Learn, learn, learn. And I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, I think that's important, but is that where we're at? Literally,
I so
is that
disagree with.
where?
I'm in such disagreement with that. Yeah.
I mean, isn't there things that are more important than? I mean,
Well, it gets to the point of what does getting good at AI mean? Like, what does that mean? Right? Eat, breathe, and sleep. Getting good at AI. What does getting good at AI mean? Like getting good at prompting? No,
that I
it doesn't.
know
We
that
can't.
I know the packages out. That
That
I
I
know
know,
the
right? That I
software.
know what
It's
I
like
can produce.
it's not like
No, it
getting
means
good at email marketing.
what it really means. If you sort of peel that onion all the way down, what it really means is we need to get good at the thing that we want AI to make us better at, right? And so if you want to get good at something, if you want to get good at AI, go get good at the thing that you want AI to make you better at, and you'll be better at AI. You know what I mean? It's like it's if you understand the deep levels of marketing concepts, if you understand the classic sort of foundational elements of great marketing, great creative, great strategy, using AI to get there will help you
Oh.
do so better because it will give you the ability to interact with something that can prod your brain, but you can recognize what good looks like when it comes back. If you're just using it to delegate, if you just get good at prompting on stuff, you're not going to know what good looks like. So it can come back with shit and you post it and go, this is amazing. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's shit. Or you might come up with something great, on occasion. It's like, if you want to be the most probable person, use AI for everything, right? If you want to be a unique, differentiated human being, you got to slow down and use your own brain.
I don't disagree with you. The issue is that if you're younger, do you really know? You're 18 years old, you just get out of high school. Do you
Well,
really
that's too.
know where?
That too.
Yeah.
That too. Go find yourself. Go find your person. Go find who you. I mean, I didn't know who I was at 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. I had to go find myself, right? And I thought I wanted to be a rock star, and I was wrong for sure. I loved doing it. I loved pursuing it, but I was 100% wrong ultimately about where I would find my love and my passion and my work and my career and everything else. And I'm glad I was wrong, but it took me time to be able to do that, to work through all of that. And I didn't have AI to help me out.
My favorite thing, I know you love Gary Vaynerchuk. My favorite thing he's
Gary
ever
V's fine.
said.
He's just the hustle culture.
I'm just saying, but he has some really good things to say.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
favorite
of course
thing,
he does.
favorite piece
Of
of
course he
advice that he ever gave to somebody was, if you're a kid, you should spend 1 week or 1 day every week and go into a nursing home and talk.
I don't disagree with that one bit.
Talk
Yeah.
to people that have
Who've had
lived
experience, who
have
have the
lived the
wisdom.
life and lived experience, and it gives you perspective.
100%.
And
yes.
it really will help guide you
Yes.
into what you then believe is important, where you can make an impact on the world.
Well, see, there you go. Gary V offering some really sage advice there, I think.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. We
All right.
love you.
Let's get to our winners and losers here, where Joe and I picked from a winner from the last week in marketing or a loser from the last week in marketing. So do you want to go quickly first here?
Just look at I don't have any articles this week, so I had to make some stuff up.
Okay.
Let's be honest. No.
They're like ChatGPT, yeah.
So this is my 23rd year that I've spent down in Santee, South Carolina, for 1 week in the spring to go golfing. I walk into the place that I've been 23 years in a row, to the exact guy that's worked there for 23 years in a row. And I said, Pulizzi, we got 8. How you doing, Victor? And Victor says, hey. He says, have you ever played the course before? I'm like,
Victor, we've done this for 26 years in a row.
Look at the data you have in front of you. It should say somewhere that I've been down here before. I'm like, the bigger concept here is that the best thing that we can do, especially in these turbulent times, if you will, is to focus on the customers we have. To focus on how do we loyal. Of course, that's why I got into content marketing, is because I think the greatest marketing goal is loyalty. Like, how do we keep the customers we have, and how do we create better customers? That's what content marketing does better than anything else. And we have the data to do this. Victor had the database in front of him, I'm sure, somewhere. But somebody got lazy. It didn't take the time to say, oh my God, Joe's group's been here before. Let's at least acknowledge that in some way to know. And it's just, those are the types of things that can make the difference between keeping a customer and losing a customer. And I think everybody listening to this has that opportunity. And I would just say, take a couple days, take a few hours even, and look at the databases you have and see if you could create better customers with the people that love you already.
Yeah.
So that they can market for you instead of you focusing on people and lead gen and all this top of the funnel stuff that's very, very hard to do when you already have a great database of customers.
Let me give you the quick corollary to that, the opposite of that.
Okay.
So, every year I go to my little mastermind thing up in Sundance, right? Up in Utah, with a group of people. And I've been doing it for now 15 years. And I don't make every single year, but pretty much I make every year. And then it's a little resort. It's called the Sundance. It's a hotel / resort with little cabins and stuff like that everybody stays in. It's small, very small little organization. Every single year when I show up, they're like, welcome back. We know exactly why you're here. In fact, we put you in the cabin that you really like because we know that you like to be on the creek. And so we put you in a particular cabin, and it's like, they know me. Right. And even to the point where this year, because I didn't go last year, I couldn't go. And so this year when I made my reservation, I just forgot to put in the room block code. And so that they always put in a discount, blah, blah, blah. So I just did my reservation online. I just booked my room and booked my room, all that. I got an email personally from the manager there who said, hey, Robert, I just saw that you reserved for your regular Sundance trip with the gang. I just wanted to let you know you didn't use the room block. So we went ahead and applied that for you. We went ahead and applied the room block for you. And so it'll all be set when you get here and you get your upgrade, you'll get your, you'll be on the creek and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's just amazing.
Right.
That, and they don't have any better technology than anybody else does. They just pay attention, right? It's just paying attention.
Actually, that's it. And I think where a lot of people stop is, that's a small business or whatever. We don't have the money to do. It's paying attention.
That's it.
That's really what. And if it involves multiple spreadsheets or whatever, sometimes it does. But it's very possible to do those things. That's a great example.
Yeah. All right. Mine's very quick. Mine's very, very quick. It's a winner that I'm picking, which is J.M. Smucker. Which maybe you do, maybe you don't know, basically owns the Twinkies brand.
They bought it.
Which I was a Twinkies fan going way back. Don't eat so many of them anymore. Very occasionally I'll have myself a little Twinkie if I'm on a road trip or something like that. It might be kind of fun. But they have resurrected, or not really resurrected, but basically created a new campaign that's really going to sort of start courting stoners, which I think is just so smart because of the rise of edibles, rise of sort of the alternative ways of rather than alcohol, the sort of, cannabis sort of orientation. So they're launching new things like the Munchie Mobile, which is going to be sort of a food truck idea that they're going to bring in and really court that. They're of course going to be doing specials on 420. There's a whole article that we'll link to from the Wall Street Journal about how they're really reformulating all of their marketing to really court this audience. I just think it's a genius marketing campaign and a really wonderful marketing campaign, and wanted to just highlight it as a winner. So it's just
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Stuff. And it is amazing to me how much less drinking the younger crowd does.
100%. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
It's super, super interesting. And I've never had one, but I mean, you'll have to tell me, but the hemp drinks seem to be doing quite well.
Yeah, I've tried a few of those. They're really nice. They're some of them are really, really nice.
Yeah, I just don't like to chew. I'm just kidding.
The gummies are great.
I'm not. Yeah,
gummies is good.
I'm not. I don't know. No, I'm not.
All right. No,
I can't. Can't do it. No.
Yeah, can't do it.
I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Okay.
That's a blast from the past. That's a cultural reference that the kids won't get. Okay, let's get to our rants and raves where Joe and I go off on a little bit of a rant or a little bit of a rave over something that we've seen that makes us happy, that Zoom was down, or something that makes us sad. I don't know where else to go with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would you like to go first with your faith-based billboards
I have,
idea?
And I have some notes here. I want you to check me, okay? Just think if I'm going off the rails here.
All right.
So here, let me get some. Where do we go? Here we go. Okay. So did the trip.
Yeah.
Down 77. 10, 11 hours both ways.
Yeah.
And saw a number of I'm going to call faith-based billboards. So, you see them on the way.
He gets us stuff, or
there's some of that. So you get from saw some good ones, like, find a friend in Jesus, and then some other ones that say hell is real. So, went through Ohio, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, some of them I do like a lot that says, depressed, find a friend in Jesus, or love thy neighbor. Love that. I'm all for that. Some of the ones, to your point, he gets us. There was one that I saw that said Jesus hated politics too. I'm all for that one. But the divisive ones, here's where I've got a problem, and I'm trying to figure it out in my head. I believe they're hurting and not helping. And so yesterday I was driving. I saw one. I wrote it down. It says, marriage after divorce is a sin. All right. Thank you for telling me. There's another one that said something like obey Jesus or go to hell. Another one that saw the hell is, there's a hell is real. And then next to that one is a gun store billboard.
Right.
So I have an issue with this. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out where the billboard laws are in this whole thing. For example, we can't show tobacco billboards anymore.
Sure.
We banned that years ago because the activity was looking acceptable to children. And we said, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So there are regulations against hate billboards. You cannot promote hate speech. You cannot incite violence. You cannot have offensive content. And I believe that these types of billboards that sort of hide under the guise of Jesus, God, whatever, I believe that they should qualify under hate speech. If we're going to do this, if we're going to, I know
you just like, God bless your inbox. Let me just put it that way.
I'm just saying, hey, I'm just saying, I'm all for the Christianity that talks about love thy neighbor and Jesus. I'm a fan and all that stuff. But when you get into putting people down and scaring people and in some cases inciting violence around that message in the guise of Jesus or God or a higher power, I think that it's a fine line and it's very subjective. But what are we doing here? Like, where are we drawing this? Or this is okay. We can't have cigarette billboards, but no, the guns are okay. What's going on? And I just don't understand it. I don't have a point necessarily. I just think that there's a marketing problem here when we go, an advertising problem, if you will. So, what do you think? How off am I?
You're not off, but you've basically scratched something that is so deep that it would be foolish for us to sort of not just stop here and go, that's good for now, because it's I think you are correct in so many ways, but in also in so many ways it's like, well, welcome to the modern world, right? Welcome to the world, because that's the way it's been for forever. And in so many ways,
and I get it. And it's fine if somebody wants to say, Joe, you're off base. I'm totally fine with that, because all I'm doing is questioning. I'm just saying, is this the right way to go?
The exploration
for a country that's already very divisive.
Right. Well, in many ways, this is the source of that divisiveness. Is you can argue that in many ways this is the source of that divisiveness. So it's.
So do you believe that everything should be allowed, or there is still a? You don't want to go. You don't even want to go there.
I kind of don't, only because I definitely have a take on this, but it would take us hours to go through it in any sort of nuanced way. And it's going to be nothing but a headline now. So Here's what I'll say is that I don't have any. So from a free speech perspective, I welcome it all. So it is, but it is a, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. From a free speech perspective, I would welcome it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just got an on-air spanking by my co-host. He just told me I went too far. Is what?
No, I'm saying we're not going nearly far enough. And so it's, and we don't have.
I guess so. So all I'm saying is, I'm not gonna go any further. I'm just saying this is something that I personally struggle with. When you see that it's a wide berth of definition, and I'm struggling with it, and I wonder if it's
more than just billboards. Let me just put it that way. It's more than just billboards.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying I just experienced this, so it's fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
And I drove. So I'm driving and I'm keeping myself awake on the road, and I'm seeing this negative, very negative, horribly negative. I'm like, no wonder. No wonder that people are like all riled up, because we got a lot of negativity going out and saying you are this and we don't like you because of it, and change your ways because you should be thinking this way.
Yeah.
Really? Is that where we're at?
Yeah. Right.
Sorry to the lost listeners.
No, I'm glad that you went first there. So let me just very quickly rave about something that's on a much lighter note.
Okay.
We're going to link to an article in Polygon talking about the summer of Superman. And so I am if there's only one superhero that I have more of a fandom of than Star Trek, it is Superman. I am a Superman freak. Love Superman. And have gotten, by the way, some gifts over the years that I just totally treasure from Superman stuff. I used to have a long time ago, I used to have a whole compendium of comic books of Superman, and I have since lost many of those. But in any event, the movie, the DCU, is really centering, around Superman, kind of like what Marvel did around Iron Man. And they're building sort of things, the movies certainly off of the Superman idea, and that will be the first major movie in the new DCU. But the comic books are also coming out, and they're calling it the summer of Superman. And so there's going to be all sorts of new books, new graphic novels, new comic books, the whole thing. And I just can't wait. I just think it's awesome, because as a Superman geek, I'm so very hopeful that the new DCU is going to treat Superman the way he should have been treated for the last 20 years, and get back to what makes Superman so great and wonderful and all of that. So I have high hopes for it, and I'm super excited for it. So
and you gave praise to the trailer,
It's great. It's fantastic.
That's the one where he hits the snow and the dog and the whole thing.
Krypton is it's crypto is there. It's fantastic.
So that was and I'm sure some people know you and I were talking about beforehand. That was filmed for the most part in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's Superman. That's where Superman originated.
That's a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, so, fantastic. Good. All right, what do you got this week coming up?
Let's see. I'm back for a little while. I don't have a lot of travel coming up now, so I'm actually just getting caught up with some things. I'm going to try to get back to doing some more consistent writing next week, and the weather's finally set 60 degrees now in Cleveland, Ohio, so it's sort of starting to break. We're going to see some spring summer weather, and I'm sort of looking forward to it. So, how about yourself?
Myself, I am doing a little traveling next week. I'll be in New York literally overnight on Monday and Tuesday, and then back. And so, but other than that, it's been spring has sprung here in Southern California, and I've been enjoying the sunshine. And
it's always spring there.
It's true. It's true. But it's truly like the beautiful time right now in LA, where it's 72 degrees and sunny, and literally the Simpsons clouds, big puffy white clouds. It's lovely here right now.
That's good for you. I'm happy for you. But you can't get cell reception, so what's the point?
No, well, there's that. There is all that.
All right. Take us out.
There is all that. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. We went a little long today, but we had some stuff to talk about and talk through. We will be back again next week with a regular show. So I hope you tune in for that. And until we see you again next week, just remember, everybody, it's your story to tell. Tell it well. We'll see you next week on This Old Marketing.
Hey, thanks a lot for making it this far in this week's episode, and thank you all for being a part of This Old Marketing. You can check out all the show notes of what we talked about today at thisoldmarketing.com, and it's also where you can leave us a review or a voicemail. We need those reviews and comments on whichever platform you follow us on. And if you haven't followed the podcast, please go do that and make sure you catch the latest and greatest episodes every Friday morning. We're on Apple and Spotify and all your other favorite podcatchers, of course, but we'd love it if you went over and subscribed to us on YouTube. That's right, YouTube. youtube.com/@thisoldmarketing. We'll see you again next week, folks, with another episode of This Old Marketing.